Hi everybody, my name's Andrew and today I'm driving a 2018 Range Rover Sport Supercharged. In this video I'm going to give you guys a quick walk around of it, take it for a test drive, tell you what I think, and also talk about why this is still worth buying over the new Range Rover Sport. Starting with the exterior, this particular Range Rover Sport is finished in Santorini black with the silver 21-inch wheels and the standard silver accent package. Personally, I think if you're going to get a black Range Rover, you need to go black on black on black with black wheels and, well, this one does have black interior too, but black everything. But the silver wheels do look nice too. 2018 was the first year of a slight facelift for this generation of Range Rover and Range Rover Sport. You got slightly tweaked headlights and taillights, bumpers, and the main changes are on the inside, so we'll get to those in a minute. Overall, this generation of Range Rover Sport, and full-size Range Rover for that matter, are aging very well, in my opinion. This basic design came out in 2014, but just looking at it, you wouldn't know that. I mean, yes, the new one is sleeker and more futuristic looking, but this is still a very nice looking SUV in its own right. Around back, unfortunately, the Range Rover Sport does not get the neat split tailgate from the full-size Range Rover, although it is still, of course, power operated, as you would expect. In there, with the seats folded up, you'll find 27.7 cubic feet of cargo space, which admittedly is smaller than both the full-size Range Rover and the majority of the competition. Down there at the bottom of the bumper, you'll find the optional trailer hitch receiver. Since this one has the V8, this particular Range Rover Sport can tow somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,700 pounds. And also, since it's the V8, it's got a rather nice exhaust note. Take a listen. Hopping inside the Range Rover Sport, this is what the key looks like. It's got the Land Rover logo on the back. It's a fairly basic looking key, but it does have a nice weight to it. Of course, you have full keyless entry, and you do have keyless sensors on all four doors, which is a nice touch. As I mentioned before, the majority of the facelift updates happened inside the Range Rover Sport. As you can see, we have three very nice large screens in here. The one in the gauge cluster is very customizable, which I always love to see. The two in the center are both touch screens. The top one is for your entertainment, your Apple CarPlay, your built-in navigation, things like that. The one on the bottom is for your drive modes, your vehicle settings, as well as your climate control. Now, I will say, admittedly, that I haven't been in this car very long, and these screens in the center have already been pretty laggy. JLR infotainment has always struggled with that. But on the bright side, they've left physical controls for the things that matter, like your climate control, your seats, and your volume. So that's always nice. Another neat thing in here, you have two glove boxes, which I don't think most people actually know about in these cars. Overall, you do have a good amount of storage in here, and the materials everywhere are, of course, super premium. This is a very nice place to be. And yes, again, it's not as sleek or futuristic necessarily as the new Range Rover Sport, but it's aged very well, and it still feels like a brand new car. Hopping in the rear seat of the Range Rover Sport, I've put the driver's seat in my position, and you can see I still have a good amount of space to move my legs around. At 37 inches of rear legroom, it is on par with rivals. Of course, it's smaller than the full-size Range Rover, but it's a smaller car overall. The rear seat backs do have a recline adjustment, which is rather nice. And of course, these rear seats are heated. As you would expect, rear seat materials are consistent with the front, so they are very nice. The panoramic sunroof does make it feel a lot bigger than it actually is. But my favorite thing about the rear seat in the Range Rover Sport is that there's a little light on the door right here next to the door handle. The car actually uses the blind spot monitoring system, the radar sensors built into the back of the car, to tell rear seat passengers when there's a car approaching from the side if they're parked getting out on a busy street. As with the Audi RS3 that I drove recently, the reason I like this thing so much is really all to do with the engine. It's popping right now, by the way. What I was about to say was, it's not fast, but there is no reason that this thing needs to sound as good as it does. Now, I say it's not fast. I mean that it's not as fast as plenty of other cars. It's not as fast as my S4 even. But given that it does have a supercharged V8 making over 500 horsepower, it's not slow. It is actually quicker than the equivalent V8 powered BMW X5. Obviously not the X5M, but this is not the SVR version either. But the other thing about this for me, the other reason I like it, is how well it rides. Obviously it does have air suspension, which is pretty much the whole reason why it rides so well. And the air suspension is, of course, height adjustable for off-roading and going over parking curbs at the mall. But that combined with the fact that the steering is actually really nice. It's got good weight to it. Not a ton of feel, but it's not bad. That combined with the steering and the exhaust means that it does actually live up to being a Range Rover Sport. Now, there is no getting around the fact that it weighs 5,000 pounds. Not much you can do about that. But that said, it does drive and handle pretty well. A few things I'm noticing from a livability point of view. The feature content of this particular Range Rover is a little bit odd. It's not poorly equipped, obviously. I've got plenty of stuff in here. I've got heated and cooled front seats, heated rear seats, power tailgate, panoramic sunroof, all the driver assistance stuff, lane keep assist, etc. But there's a couple things it doesn't have. For one, there's no 360 camera. I believe it is an option, but at this price point, it should really be standard. And I also noticed that even though the ventilation on these seats is really nice, these seats do not have any massage functionality, which is odd because my S4 has massage, and this is more expensive than that. So, you know, it is well equipped though, so it's not the end of the world. And speaking of these seats, actually, the last time I was in a full-size Range Rover, I was impressed with how comfortable the seats were. I'm not as impressed with these seats. They're not uncomfortable, but they are very firm. And some people may like that. Personally, I do like that, but if I'm in a big, comfy SUV, for me, this is not meant to be a sports car, right? This, even though it is a sport and it does drive really well, this is meant to be a really comfy daily or a road tripper. And in a car like that, personally, I think squishier seats are better. So to wrap this video up, I have to talk about something that Jaguar Land Rover is infamous for. And I actually don't mean reliability. I'm not really going to get into that because this car's got 40,000 miles and the back seat rattles constantly. What I'm actually going to talk about is depreciation, because even in the current messed up car market that we've been in, this car has still depreciated massively. I mean, like I said, it's got 40-some thousand miles and it's under $60,000. The new Range Rover Sport starts over 80. And to be honest, that's really the whole reason you should buy this over the new one. I can't believe I'm saying a Range Rover is a value proposition. It's not. It's still really expensive. But when you compare it like that, I guess it is. And on that note, thank you as always to Echo Park Raleigh for allowing me access to this Range Rover and hopefully plenty more cars in the future. If you enjoyed this video or found it informative, give it a thumbs up or consider subscribing for plenty more content to come.